Whenever you hear that MVP chant, you already know what's the deal. You know how it's going down. It's the most valuable podcast in the world. It's the Hitmen podcast. We back in full effect. You feel me? Had to get a break, get ready for playoff mode. Chris in here, MG in here. What's the deal, bro? How you feeling?
What's good with you, my brother, man?
I'm cool, bro. I'm back from the dead. I'm in here hype. You feel me?
Hey, man, still trying to drop the Easter weight, man, from the food?
Nah, I was on the road, hard body. You feel me? I had to end the season on a good note, but happy to be back with you, bro. I just needed a couple days to myself, you know. A little load management ain't never hurt nobody nowadays, but we back for all the chips, you feel me?
Damn right.
How you been holding up? You good? Everything smooth?
Yeah, man, chilling, man. Just, keep trying to keep up with the games.
You pull your Steve Harvey out. You got your lavender suit on. What you had on? Lime green for Easter?
Nah, bro, we ain't do all of that, man.
You know, D-Town players, some heavy steppers. Y'all step different. You feel me?
Hey, man, I'm at that age where, you know what, we gonna rock. We gonna rock what's comfortable, man. We gonna keep it comfortable.
Man, Easter Sunday, for those that believe he is risen, for sure, but it's also an unofficial holiday. It's the start of the playoffs, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Clap it up one time for the postseason. Yeah, man. I'm ready to get off into it. We're going to bounce around tonight. Try to make it a quick one. We got a lot to talk about, but we got to get all of the red tape out the way. Before we get started, I want to let y'all know, we everywhere that podcasts live. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, all of that, man. Y'all can check us out anywhere that podcasts live. Check out the video on YouTube. It's in your phone right now, this very second. Hit us up in the mailbag. We need some kick picks. We need to know what's going on in these closets. The summer drops is coming soon. We're going to get off into the rundown in a little while, but y'all know the address is the hitmenpodcast@gmail.com. And, of course, hit us up on the socials at Hitmen Podcast, at Labeled and Known. My brother MG is at Virtuoso Sports on Twitter. You feel me? What up, Scoop?
Yo, this is Scoop Jackson, and you are tuned into the Hitmen Podcast.
What up, Prof?
Yo, this is Doma T. Pongo, and you checking in with the Hitman Podcast.
Yeah. One more thing, shout out to Pod Digital Media, GC, what up? BlitzSportsNetwork.com. Make sure y'all tap in with the big homie over there. You ready to get to it, big dog?
Let's do it.
Y'all know how we get down each and every week. It's the woo-wop, the bams. I want to start a little different. First and foremost, I was going to say this for the shout-outs, but I'll wait. I'll start off early. Rest in peace to Archie. We're going to start it off with this way. I know you hear this at every arena. You feel me?
Yeah.
This like everybody battle cry at the beginning. We're going to start off with the NBA playoffs. Y'all already know the deal. You want the digest version from me, bro, or you want the real-life version? We're not going to see Ben Simmons. Donovan Mitchell's not a superstar. Giannis is unstoppable. Take your pick. Where you want to go?
Talk about it.
You feel me? I'm on that tonight. I'm coming in hot. Where you want to start, bro? You want to go with the Celtics? You want to go with the games from tonight? What's up with it?
Let's go with the Celtics in that series.
In case you was living under a rock, the most spectacular, the best game of the playoffs over the weekend, buzzer beater Jason Tatum brought the Celtics the 1-0 victory against the Nets over the weekend. Game 2 is tomorrow night in Boston. Ton of storylines, tons of things to bounce around off of, but we start at the top. That last play, bro.
Man.
Take it away, bro. What you thought? What you thinking?
First of all, I'm with 99% of the world. I thought Marcus Smart was letting that motherfucker go. I thought he was gonna let it fly.
How you feel about the notion that the pass wasn't to Jason Tatum? It was really to Derek White in the corner, and Jason Tatum just happened to be in the way and improvised.
Nah, I think it was definitely the Tatum. But
you
I
think so?
I think it was the Tatum, but I also think that the spin move was, I don't want to call it accidental, but it was almost like his brain was on autopilot when he hit the spin button.
Extra, right?
Because it was just so quick, such a split-second moment. There's no way he planned that in that quick of a second. Just no way.
Only reason I think the pass was to White was because, like you said, Marcus Smart ain't a pass first guard. We all thought he was gonna let that bitch fly. You feel me?
Man,
but the pass was a little high, so it made me think that he was passing across court. But Jason Tatum hits the buzzer beater over Kyrie, and we're gonna get off into that in a second. But it gives the Boston Celtics the 1-0 lead in the first round of the playoffs. This is, I feel like, how the playoffs are going to be in this series in particular, all the way through. I would love for it to go 7. I don't think it's going to go 7. But one of the big takeaways is with how intense game 1 was, there's no way that Ben Simmons is going to come off the street and play elite level basketball in this series in particular. I don't think we're going to see him at all. They said they cleared him for contact and 5-on-5s, but him and Zion are in the same boat. I don't think we're going to see Ben Simmons at all.
Yeah, maybe if they make it to the second round, if they make it out of the series to the second round, but I mean, maybe at the very latest, a game 6 or 7. But trying to squeeze a dude into a rotation that late into a series is too difficult. So
the other thing about this series, bro, is it's the classic my favorite team versus my favorite player argument. So you would think that obviously, like, the 2 or 3 best players in the series are Jason Tatum, KD, and Kyrie in whatever order you want to go. But 9 times out of 10, you'll hear people say, oh, I'm not a Nets fan, I'm a KD fan. Oh, I'm not a Nets fan, I'm a Kyrie fan. But Boston has a better complete overall team when you look at it. And in order for the Nets to win the series, in my opinion, both of them got to play great. One of them can't play all right, and then the other one played great like we saw over the weekend. Kyrie had damn near 40, and KD had I guess he had 20 plus, but it was like a quiet 20 plus.
Yeah.
They're going to have to give finals effort every night, especially with this series, in order for them to advance.
Yeah, they got, man, look, and on top of that, I mean, KD and Kyrie are going to have to play damn near perfect basketball each night. For sure. Because that supporting cast is, you got some guys who can do some stuff here and there, but, I mean, that supporting cast is not good. They're not a deep team, and they're a terrible defensive team,
and they still hurt.
Like, they struggled to get past the Cavs in the play-in, and Kyrie and KD both
had monster games,
pretty perfect. So I mean, that should tell you, like, and on the Boston side, I mean, the Boston's credit, I mean, defensively, probably since January, they've been a monster defensively.
I think they were 19-2, 20-2 to close the season.
And then Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown have been doing the one thing they never did in the past, which is have good games at the same time. It used to always be one or the other, but right now they're having good games together. The whole team's locked in defensively. Shout out Marcus Smart, DPOY.
Boom. Round of applause, Marcus Smart. First guard to win the DPOY award since 1996. You feel me?
Yes, sir. And that man who won it in 96 presented him with the award, which was a dope moment.
That's hard. Shout out to the
glove. That's so dope, bro. That'd be like Allen Iverson presenting me with like a award for having heart. Like, I'd be like, what?
That'd be like Allen Iverson presenting me with anything. Give me a turkey sandwich. You feel me? I'd take it.
That was a super dope moment, man.
Passing me a stick of gum in the club. Allen Iverson got this. Allen Iverson gum.
I'm telling you, bro. If it was me, I'm talking trash to GP. I'm trying to have a trash talk battle.
I feel it, bro. You think it was deserved though? You think Marcus should have won it over 3J, over Embiid, over Giannis?
Well, my problem was Embiid. I don't even think Embiid was a top 10 finalist. That's my big issue. I would have had Mikal Bridges or Embiid or Giannis up there. I'm not mad at Marcus Smart winning it though. The fact that Rudy Gobert was top 3 again, which we've seen these last 2 games, he's virtually irrelevant. For him to still be getting that recognition just because he's the tallest player in the league is crazy to me.
Somebody who took exception to not even being a finalist was Bam Adebayo. He's been playing pissed off these first 2 games in Miami after they paintbrushed in game 2. They started out great in game 1, Didn't necessarily get the biggest game from Jimmy, but he made up for it tonight with a 45-piece. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I never saw that coming. You feel me?
They turned it up in the second half.
Big dog style. They had Duncan Robinson giving them 27 off the bench in the first game. And in this game, man, Trae Young is fighting for his life. I bet you he feel like Julius Randle felt last year when they played them. He's working way too hard for baskets. And despite them having better shooters all the way around, they can't box out, they can't get rebounds, and they throwing up jump shots, and the Heat just taking advantage of them left and right, bro. They're just a tougher team. I didn't expect this to be a sweep, but now I wouldn't be surprised if it's going to be a clean sweep.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think a part of it, too, is just the style of play with, Trae, the Hawks being so ball dominant with Trae. And Trae, his only way of really creating havoc is flopping or ref baiting a lot of times. So I think if Trae kind of got back to what he was doing last year, where he was just really attacking the paint for floaters and then pulling up for mid ranges and then the occasional three, I think they'd be fine. But right now, Trae, it just looks like he's playing for fouls.
It's also hard to bullshit a bullshitter. You can't outshine the master when it come to flopping, when it come to ref baiting. When you talking about on the other side, Kyle Lowry, PJ Tucker, you gonna have to, you feel me? You gonna have to come with a different game plan when you talking about that. Oh yeah, I seen that movie before. Oh yeah, this a remake, bro. Let's go back to the Nets and Celtics real quick though.
Yeah.
So life is about balance, right? Here's Kyrie in a good mood.
Kyrie, on a personal note, you have said that you are fasting for Ramadan, which, for those who are unaware, means no food, no water from sun up to sundown. How do you muster the energy to go out and score 34 points with very little nutrition in your body?
Well, it's a journey with God, and I'm not alone in this. I have brothers and sisters all around the world that are fasting with me. We hold our prayers and our meditations very sacred. And when you come out here, I mean, God's inside me, God's inside you, God's inside all of us. So I'm walking with faith, and that's all that matters. And when I get a chance to do this in this type of arena and showcase my talents that have been granted to me strictly from God, I'm humbled.
He's not letting me.
That was, I believe, after the play-in game when they beat Cleveland, right?
Yeah.
So life is about balance, right? This is Kyrie after the game 1 loss in Boston.
You're going to have to move out of the way, please.
My dick, dude.
That man, bro.
Did we figure out the mystery behind why he's allowed to wear red socks? I thought he was going to get fined for that a while ago.
I don't know. But, Kyrie gets to get away with a lot of stuff that nobody else gets to get away with.
I was talking to a couple of sideline reporters over the weekend just about the notion. I know you saw that game front to back, and one of the biggest things, one of the biggest points of contention was him flipping the crowd the bird, right?
Yeah.
So I reached out to a couple of folks, and I'm like, do you think if the Nets lose this game, Kyrie's going to blame himself for that lapse in focus, right? Because up until that point, he had been cooking the Celtics. And the argument can be made like, damn, Marcus Smart, Defensive Player of the Year, but Kyrie just hung damn near 40 on him out the gate. But that one small lapse in focus, right? When Jason Tatum hits the game winner, who's defending him? Kyrie. Because he gets lost in the switch. KD, it really was KD's assignment, but they got lost on the switch when Smart passed the ball across court. Again, that's why I think it was going to Derek White. But nevertheless, though, Kyrie is supposed to be defending at that point. Jason Tatum hits him with that wild-ass spin move, and y'all lose the game. Of course, Kyrie got fined for the gesture, right? But my thing was, is ESPN dry snitching? Because they had to catch that angle, right? Somebody just got lucky, whoever was running that camera. They got lucky with that. And then they kept running it over and over and over again, right? If it was a non-issue, you could have just ran it once and kept it pushing. But they made it a point to rerun it over and over and over. And, of course, it added to the story of him being back in Boston and them booing him and him playing the villain. But that just cost him 50 G's, right? But we've also seen in situations where Utah, Boston, where they are Philly, they are way different type of crowd when it comes to racial, ethnic slur. I'm not insinuating that that's what happened, but history is bound to repeat itself. Like, we've seen it happen far too many times. Like, those cities have certain reputations. So who knows what was being said to Kyrie, play in, play out. And he was just letting his frustrations get the better of him towards the end of the game. And ultimately they lost it. And in my opinion, they lost it because of the fact that he lacked focus, razor sharp focus. And especially in the situation they in, where they are the 7th seed, 8th seed.
Yeah, and they need to get one of these two.
You need every game because you're not gonna have home field advantage at all the entire playoffs. You got to win maybe 12, damn near 13 of the 16 games that you need to win a championship on the road, man.
Yeah, I mean, it just puts the pressure on them in general because, I mean, if they lose game 2 in Boston, now they go home. You can't afford to give up one of those games and then go back to Boston for game 5 down 3-1.
On top of the fact that you only played half the season.
Yeah. So I definitely think Kyrie had a lapse in focus in that moment. Which, I mean, it definitely happens. I mean, I don't know what the fans said to him. I mean, kind of what Kyrie hinted at. I mean, from what Kyrie hinted at, it wasn't racial, because if it was, Kyrie definitely would have said it. Like, he had no problem with saying it in the past.
They've been getting fans thrown out. LeBron got a fan thrown out. Russ got a fan thrown out. They're on that.
But, I mean, for me at this point, it's like, and then Kyrie talking about, where I'm from. All right, bro, you from Australia. You went to Duke. I'm not taking you seriously on that side of the game. I'm not. I'm just not. Don't give me the tough guy spiel when you went to Duke and you're from Australia. I'm sorry. I mean, it's kind of a microcosm of the Kyrie experience, right? There's going to be a lot of highs that come with Kyrie.
Word.
The great games, the flashy plays, the ball handling, the skills and the made shots, and the good guy, right, who we seen on the first side of that clip you played. But then on the other side, there's the really bad off shooting nights, the nights where he is a black hole offensively, the nights where he's losing focus or not showing up at all, or just saying crazy stuff. Like, it's the two-sided thing. It's the Jekyll and Hyde thing you get with Kyrie, and you just gotta hope the good side shows up that day.
Gun to your head, do they have a chance of winning this series? And if so, in how many games?
If they win this series, it would have to be it would be 7.
It'd be 7, which means the winner of this matchup is going to play the winner of which team? Is it the winner of Milwaukee, Chicago?
The winner of this game plays, Milwaukee, Chicago.
So going 7 games against Boston, getting beat the fuck up, and then essentially, because Milwaukee's going to beat us, unfortunately, but you getting beat the fuck up by Boston, and then you roll into a series with Milwaukee thinking that you're going to win it.
This is why I wasn't picking the Nets to make it that far. I said conference finals at best, but
right.
Just the path having to travel of playing, playing the teams they're gonna have to play. It's all on the road pretty much. When you talk about home court advantage, it's too tough.
Talk about the West Side real quick. We'll double back to the East in a minute.
Yo,
the Warriors having a pool party last time I checked.
That's right.
Looking like Jokic gonna win the MVP, but it don't really make a damn bit of difference because Jordan Poole been going galactic these past 2 games. They smoked them game 1. Steph Curry gave them 20 plus off the bench last night in Golden State for them to take a commanding 2-0 lead over the Denver Nuggets. It got a little chippy, and that's what I'm loving about the playoffs too. It even got chippy tonight with Miami and Atlanta, but Jokic got thrown out of the game last night, similar to the style he got thrown out last year when he threw a flagrant on Campaign. The name of the game is focus, man. We talked about focus with Kyrie, talking about focus with the Joker. You want to win the championship, bro? You got to stay focused. You got to stay available. That's what's gonna get you wins. You can't win a championship getting thrown out of games, bro.
No, you're not. And I mean, Jokic is a frustration file guy. We've seen it before where he misses a shot or something happens and he gets frustrated and then he fouls somebody on the fast break.
In his defense, though, his coach did come out. Mike Malone came out a little while ago and said he's the most disrespected reigning MVP in NBA history. And there's a little bit of truth to that because he
the
doesn't
voters are the ones who gave him MVP. It definitely ain't a lot of the people watching.
I feel you, but he still should get MVP calls, and he hasn't gotten them all season.
That's some of them calls he was asking for weren't fouls. He just Draymond was standing his ground. I mean, what do you want him to do?
I mean, we can go all day with who gets what fouls, and they not really fouls. But
I mean, of course.
But nevertheless, though, you think as the series shifts back to Denver, they get a chance to reset. We're not going to see Jamal Murray. We're not going to see Michael Porter Jr., but do the Denver Nuggets have a puncher's chance to even get a game out of this series? Because right now the Warriors look focused. That's the name of this episode. Damn near, it's focused. They look focused, bro.
I'll give them one game just because I mean at some point the Warriors are gonna have one of those off nights. So I mean it's just bound to happen. So
yeah.
I'll give them one.
Yeah.
I'll give them one. But I mean, a lot of this is isn't just Jokic. It's got a lot to do with kind of everything surrounding it. I mean, Jokic is pretty much running the entire show, kind of Westbrook, James Harden, Luka style.
Yeah.
And the style is very difficult to win games with.
Yeah.
I mean, playoff series with. So, and honestly, I mean, as much as we talk about Michael Porter and Jamal Murray, Michael Porter ain't helping. I mean, he's one of the worst defenders in the league. We've seen it. I mean, people were them few games he played earlier in the season. People were begging him to get benched. Like, I don't understand why people are like, "Oh, if Michael Porter was here, y'all didn't want him there earlier in the season."
Nah, I'm with you.
And then Jamal Murray, I mean, yeah, he can score, but I mean, he's an inconsistent scorer when it comes to efficiency, and he's not a good defender either. Like their problems defensively are not fixed by Murray and Porter; they actually get worse defensively.
Yeah, and this is the wrong team for them to be playing, to have defensive deficiencies.
And again, I'll say it again: you're not going nowhere with Jokic as your best player. Second best, maybe, not as your best.
I'll give him a game at the crib, and then it's gonna be all she wrote after that, man.
Yeah, they can't defend that 3-guard lineup that the Golden State is rolling out right now.
Which is crazy to say, because you would think that the one advantage in the playoffs you would want when the game slows down is size, and that's something that the Nuggets do have, not significantly, but that's what
Jokic
they have over the Warriors.
Post up, man. He's one of the biggest players in the league, but when he's posting up, he does not gain much ground. And so he ends up having to turn and make a awkward shot or kind of use some leverage to get the shot over the defender.
Because he's getting pushed and he's off balance. Yeah, I got
you. Like he doesn't move bodies, if that makes sense. Like we've seen bigs who move bodies, and he's not one of those guys who moves bodies. He's good at positioning his body in a way to where he can't get a shot block, but he ain't moving nobody on the block. So that's kind of one of the issues with him. Down there, and he's not shooting the 3-ball well this year. I think he would shot it at like 33% or something. So,
does it mean anything to you that the Warriors are probably not going to see Wiseman at all during these playoffs? Again, where you may need size potentially if they make the finals and they're playing Giannis.
It worries me because I'm probably the biggest hater of Kayvon Looney.
He didn't miss a game though. He didn't miss a game all season, though.
Sometimes being there ain't what's best for the team. So I mean, sometimes like, "Hey, big fella, man, we got you, bro. Have a low management day, bro."
Wow for that one.
But no, because like the thing that and everybody keeps saying Wiseman's number one pick, this number one pick, that whatever. That's not why they need him.
No.
They don't need Wiseman to be 20 and 15 every game. No. They need Wiseman for his mobility and his athleticism.
Right.
Because Looney's not a lob threat. He's not athletic. He's not a great shot blocker. He'll grab you a couple offensive rebounds here and there, but he's not good at guarding the pick and roll either, which Wiseman wasn't because it was his rookie year. And we don't know what he would look like coming back off of that injury either. But at the very least, Wiseman's super athletic. He's got the long arms. He's proven he can knock down a mid-range or a 3-ball, and he's willing to post up too. Like just the difference in athleticism for what this team is trying to do in terms of getting up and down the floor, he fits better than Looney does.
This is the only series that actually has a commanding lead. The other series in the West, including Phoenix losing tonight to New Orleans, Minnesota and Memphis are tied after tonight, with Memphis coming back and getting a win. And then the last series,
Utah and
Utah and Dallas. Bro, I'm doubling down.
I don't count Utah and Dallas because Dallas should be up 2-0.
I'm doubling down on my take from 2 years ago. Donovan Mitchell is not a superstar, bro. The first game, he was talking a lot of shit with Luka not being in the game, and they ended up barely winning against Dallas. Last night, Dinwiddie was doing his thing. Finney-Smith was doing his thing, and they ended up winning the game and tying the series. This should have been a sweep. As long as Luka's out, this should be a sweep. How do y'all have 2 all-star players, 2 fringe all-NBA players, and y'all are losing to the Mavericks when the Mavericks really don't have, you would have thought before last night, the Mavericks don't have anything. They let Maxi Kleber hit 8 threes on them last night, dog.
Yeah. Bro, they hit, 22 threes? They broke the record. They broke the Mavs' own record for a single game.
What's up with y'all, bro? What's up with y'all, man?
Coincidentally, was that game 4, 2011 against the Lakers, where everybody and their mama and the fans and the janitors were hitting threes on the Lakers that game. So,
yeah, like, what's up with y'all? This is weird.
17 uncontested?
This is weird. For a second, I forgot the Jazz were the lower seed. I thought they were the higher seed. But the Jazz
they had that tail
seed.
Off at the end of the year, yeah.
So they go back to Vivid. They go back to Salt Lake for games 3 and 4. Word around the campfire is Luka actually might be ready for this series with that calf injury. They said they're going to reevaluate him this week. Same thing with Capella out in Atlanta. They said there was a negative MRI, so he may be back in time to help out in that series, and they desperately need him. But I don't know what to make of this series because either team feels like they're just going to be served up for whoever is going to be on the other side of the second round for them. 4 or 5 matchup is probably going to play, the 3-6?
Phoenix.
Oh, they'll play Phoenix. Yeah. But then they took a loss tonight, too. Devin Booker was going fucking crazy. 31 in the first half, and then he gets injured in the second half of the game. They get out-rebounded by New Orleans, and they end up sneaking out a win that they weren't entitled to.
Yep. So, I mean, I'll say this about Utah. Game 3 is a must-win for the simple fact of, because the Luka thing is still on the fringe, right? But the fact that it's even questionable at this point means he's getting close.
Right.
So you're talking about Game 4 being in 3-4 days? So I mean, Utah has to win Game 3 because once Luka come back, the series is over.
No production from Royce O'Neal. Mike Conley barely giving you much of anything. They don't have anybody behind Gobert when it comes to the center spot.
I mean, they got problems. I mean, and if we're gonna cut it, I mean, number one, and I don't know how many people have watched Utah Dallas games the past 2 years. The Mavs and the Jazz don't like each other, and that's why all the shit talking's going on. Luka's got some type of personal grudge with Rudy Gobert
and Jordan Clarkson too.
Yeah, so you already got that part. So I mean that's gonna explain part of why Dallas is playing as hard as they are. Plus they were at home, but also Utah they're not an athletic team. Outside of
Mitchell, yeah,
Donovan and Jordan Clarkson to a degree.
Yeah.
They're not athletic. They're not a great defensive team. I mean, you can say what you want about Rudy Gobert all day long, but he gets hidden, and so he doesn't get exposed in the pick and roll.
Agreed.
And they don't play. I mean, look at the division they play in. They don't play many great teams in that division, so it's not like he's out there playing a bunch of great shooters every night, like the Warriors, or you look at the playoffs last year with the Clippers who were able to space them out. And the fact that Rudy isn't a dominant offensive player, especially when you're playing against smaller guys with smaller lineups and they're knocking threes down, Rudy has to be on the other end dominating to justify him still being on the court.
Both ends of the floor, you're right. Absolutely.
It'd be one thing if he was dominating in the paint and he was locking down his man and doing all of that, but he's not. I mean, they're exposing him and his ability to get out there and cover a 3-ball. He's virtually unplayable in series where teams space you out with 5 people. So And it's just not acceptable. 13 points in 2 playoff games. I'm not paying a dude $35 million to give me 13 points in 2 playoff games.
It always go back to that boy paycheck.
Because here's the
how
thing.
much he made. I feel you though.
There's not a single defender in NBA history that I'm paying $35 million to give me 13 points in 2 playoff games just because he can block a couple shots and he's the tallest player in the league, like literally the tallest player.
I feel you,
right?
bro.
Like not Ben Wallace, I don't care, Dennis Rodman, Gary Payton. I don't care who you are. If you can't give me production on both sides of the ball, I'm not paying you top level dollar like that. You're gonna get paid what a defender gets paid, not what an all around player gets paid.
I'm praying the Bulls hear you because they've been in the rumor mill about seeking that boy out at the end of the season.
Don't do it.
Man, Dallas.
Don't do it.
A big man I do want to talk about real quick, Joel Embiid. Playing like a true MVP, playing like a killer. Playing like a certified killer, dog.
You have to game 1.
Yeah.
Time Max, bro.
Big Maxie. You heard that ovation? They was going galactic for that boy, screaming that boy name like he was a gladiator or something.
Hey man, that boy can ball.
James Harden dished out 15 assists the first game. He's probably under the biggest pressure. He's probably the player with the most pressure in terms of needing success in the postseason at this point.
I would debate that.
Who would you say would be up there next to him? Because I think it's him. They got a 2-year window to win the championship.
The entire Utah team, because that team is probably getting broken up if Luka come back and they lose the next 3.
They're not winning a championship even with that team, though.
But that team is probably getting broken up if they end up losing in 6.
Oh, most definitely. And it's not. I don't think it's Quinn Snyder's fault. And I do want to talk about him for a real brief second because he's been rumored to be in that he was rumored to be in that situation in terms of potential coaching hires for the Lakers. But then I guess the way they did Frank Vogel left a bad taste in his mouth. So he took himself out of the running, even out of the conversation. But now new rumors have surfaced that Brad Stevens might be somebody that the Lakers are looking for in regards to taking up the head coaching job, which would leave the GM job for the Boston Celtics wide open for Sam Presti to come back home. And I've been hearing about Sam Presti possibly to the Celtics for the past 2.5, 3 years now.
So he can acquire more draft picks and not do anything with them?
Yeah.
It'd be like having Danny Ainge all over again.
You feel me? If you take Danny Ainge, Sam Presti, and Daryl Morey and stick them all in the same panic room,
bruh,
they start to look alike, right?
That's funny.
But yeah, man, Philly looking good. I expect them to breeze through that series.
Scottie
the
Barnes
East is a
getting
little bit more
hurt,
clear.
Thad Young getting hurt.
Yeah, rookie of the year in my opinion. Speedy recovery to Scottie Barnes, but the Raptors just don't have it. I think it's gonna be interesting to see how it works out in Toronto. Matisse Thybulle's not gonna be available because he's not vaccinated. I think there's one other player that they haven't released the name of.
Yeah, they said it was 2. Was it him and was it Danny Green?
Was it Danny Green? It might have been. It might have actually been. I thought I read somewhere that it was.
It was either Danny Green or Tobias. It was one of the 2. I don't know which. I can't remember.
My mind is leaning more towards Danny Green. Danny Green, he gave them a couple of buckets, but not really much production that you're gonna have to be scared of. Matisse Thybulle was the one that I'm really concerned with because he can garner first team All NBA defense honors just because of how rangy he is. We just got through talking about athleticism from Wiseman and being rangy in terms of his wingspan. Matisse Thybulle gives them another added wrinkle that they desperately need when it comes to playing the offenses that's going to be coming their way in the next few rounds. But without him in Toronto, those games become much harder for Joel Embiid, for James Harden. Now Ty Maxey, because when you look at it, a month ago, if you'd have asked who's the second best player on Philly, you'd have thought what? Harden. But it's looking like Tyrese Maxey's the second best player, no?
Having a coming out party, man.
For sure.
I knew the first time I seen him play last year, and Doc Rivers refused to play that man any real minutes. I thought Doc was crazy. But he's having his coming out party now, man. I always liked Ty Maxey, man. He's a competitor. Like, that's the first thing I noticed about him. He competes. night in, night out. It's never a question of his effort on both ends.
Ahead of his time. 21 years old, playing like a vet.
And he's really worked on his outside jumper this past season, and it shows with the way he's played since Harden's been there.
Word.
Right now, they should be cruising. They're just a better team than than Toronto. Toronto's real advantage is Nick Nurse from a schematic standpoint. It's just always given Joel Embiid problems. But
both coaches in this series are also rumored to be potential targets for the Lakers head coaching vacancy. By the way,
maybe Doc, but I don't think Nick Nurse. Nick Nurse has no reason to leave.
What you make of the exchange between him and Embiid last night? Embiid came out and said that he told Nick Nurse to stop bitching over calls.
I think it's funny. I get why people would be mad that Joel was the one who said it, because Joel does it a lot and he flops a lot. You see the picture floating around of him and Harden both on the ground from flopping at the same time.
Damn.
But Nick Nurse, if anybody's watched the Toronto Raptors game in the last 3 years, there is not a single call that Nick Nurse isn't screaming about. Every play. So
him and Luka.
I get it, bro. Literally, like Nick Nurse is screaming every play about a call. It's almost frustrating. Not almost, but it is frustrating. So I'm okay with Joel saying it because at least one complainer said it to another. So it's like the pot calling the kettle black or whatever. That's fine. It's not like it's a coach who never says a single word and then Joel saying it to him. Now that'd be different. But I'm cool with this.
Our band is strictly about playoff basketball this week, man. That's all we have for y'all. Big surprise when we go to the quick hits. More basketball shit. Sorry we had to make up for lost time. I was in playoff mode. I was at the play-in game in New Orleans where they had the lightning ordinance. I saw Zion do the 360 dunk that he didn't want nobody else to see. Watched DeJounte Murray give a hellified effort. Then turned around and came back to the crib and got ready for playoff basketball, man. I'll be at games 3 and 4 at the UC when the Bucks come in town to take on the Bulls. I'm hoping we get at least one game, but I'm anticipating a sweep. With that being said, I want to talk about the Greek Freak real quick. Giannis is just 11 points away from being the all-time franchise leader in playoff buckets. He has a chance to pass Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for when he played for the Milwaukee Bucks. That was fast for the Freak, man. Bro.
I think honestly, I think you could legitimately say he's the best player in Bucks history.
It's right there.
Kareem won them one, but at those years after that were kind of, I think they missed the playoffs. It got pretty bad towards the end of his Milwaukee run. So, it's just crazy him and Oscar only were able to muster up one together.
That's wild. Sidney Moncrief. That's crazy, bro.
So,
crazy.
I think Giannis is, solidified himself as the greatest Milwaukee Buck of all time.
And
salute to
short
him.
Fashion, short order. Salute to Giannis. Never saw it coming. Let's talk Demarcus Cousins for a second. A report came out. I guess he had some beef, or he's speaking about his time in Sacramento. Comes from sideline source. Quote, Demarcus Cousins, when he was asked about if he would change anything about his time in Sacramento, if he could go back in time. He goes, quote, I would have skipped my draft workout in Sacramento, Cousins said. What did Sac do for me besides say my name on draft day? Nothing. I did more for them than they did for me. That's just being honest, just being 100% honest. I had 2 owners, 3 GMs, and 7 coaches in 7 years. Not much more needs to be said after that. When he was asked about whether or not he has Hall of Fame numbers, he said, Vlade Divac is in the Hall of Fame, bro. Look at his career and look at mine. We'll just leave it at that. Since then, I guess a day later, former Kings coach George Karl said that what Sacramento did for you was paid you approximately $50 million and gave you an opportunity to play professional basketball for a living. Nobody likes George Karl. I've come
no,
to
and
know
I hate the notion of they gave you an opportunity like this man wasn't going to be a top 5 draft pick, no matter who was picking. Like, Sacramento just happened to fall there, but George Karl acting like wasn't nobody else going to pick him.
Right, like
craziness.
Thanks, Captain Obvious, for sure.
But on the flip side, what did Demarcus really do for Sacramento besides loose?
He was, for me, a lot of times when I get into these debates, he was the original putting up great stats on a bad team.
Him and K Love.
Him and Kevin Love. So a lot of those times when people were saying Boogie got snubbed from All-Star consideration back in the day, I wasn't really in that camp because I'm like, yo, they consistently got 15 wins. If he say he wants to be responsible or put his hat on or put his name on hanging it on saying he won 15 victories in the West, like, all right, cool, bro, but that don't mean that you're gonna be an All-Star.
And I mean, and here's my thing. I don't care what people you put around somebody. If you're an all-star caliber player, you should automatically guarantee 30 to 40 victories a season.
1,000,000%.
Because you can't tell me that there's not going to be nights where out of an 82-game schedule, you couldn't be the absolute best player and dominant player on the floor.
Yeah, not just on your team, on the floor.
For 30, yeah, exactly, for 30 to 40 games. That's what an all-star is to me. And then once you start talking about superstar, then it's the people we talking about a guaranteed 50 wins every year, right? Yes. Like, there's levels to it, right? So, like, for Boogie, like, you were borderline all-star, bro. Like, what you did wasn't really, conducive to winning. And you can say, the teammates around me and this and that. We've seen some people have some trash teammates and still get more done.
Word.
Like, period. Like,
word, bro. According to TNT, the Bulls-Bucks game. I'm sorry, according to ESPN, the Bulls-Bucks game one was the most watched game one of the playoffs they've had since 2018. I believe that was the last time the Bulls made the playoffs, so almost 5 years. But it just shows the viewership is up. TNT reported that the Nets Celtics game pulled in a 4.05 rating. It's the most watched first round game of theirs since 2016. Excuse me, I said 4.5. It actually pulled in a 9.8 viewer rating. So 9.8 million people tuned in for that game. So shout out to the NBA putting on great theater, great basketball up until this point. I'm glued to the TV, bro. I'm so thankful for playoff basketball. Dame Lillard popped up out of a mouse hole and said that he'd be willing to talk a trade if Portland came to him in that direction. A year too late, in my opinion, if you ask me.
Everything Dame is saying is basically just saying, look, man, I want to get out of here, but
I don't want to be the reason
to do it.
Yeah,
I'm not about to have these people mad at me in Portland. I don't want to look like I'm the one who gave up. So I'm gonna just wait until they decide it's time.
Last one. I'm gonna pose a question to you. So Draymond asked Steph. He said, "Would you give up the rings in 17 and 18 would you trade those in for one ring in 16 and cap off the 73-9 season?" He asked me this on his podcast. Steph mulled it over for a little while. He ultimately said, "Nah, I wouldn't." But it's always something that I can laugh at now. He's like, "Thank God I don't take myself that serious, because if I did, I'd be pissed off about it for the rest of my life." So let me ask you, if it was up to you, where you could have capped off that season, you know what I'm saying, beating the Bulls by a game in terms of having the best record and then winning the championship, would you trade in the 2 rings after that, or would you keep the 2 rings?
Oh, because he's got 4 rings, so he
3.
would have to.
Just
He's
3.
got 3. Oh, that's right, he's got 3. So,
so if he gave up those 2, he would go from having 3 to having 2. You feel me?
Right. Yeah, and he would basically have to trade in the KD rings.
So he had the one in 30. He had the one in 15, and then he still had a back-to-back, right? Because the 17 and 18 is back-to-back. You basically erasing the KD years and saying, all right, the years that we had before Kevin Durant were better or more impactful, more monumental. For me, because I'm a perfectionist, I would have gave up the 2 rings.
I'm right there with you, because it wasn't like, it'd be one thing if they three-peated, right?
Yeah,
which obviously circumstances kind of affected that with some injuries and whatnot. But to cap off a season that would be remembered, I mean, statistically, as the greatest season ever.
Not only that, but the reason they went and got KD is because they lost that series.
Yeah.
If they would have won that series, we wouldn't even be talking about Kevin Durant being on the Warriors.
I still think KD go. I think KD mind about Golden State was made up a year before he even went.
I don't know, bro, because they had to get rid of. Didn't they get rid of Harrison Barnes in order for him to come over there?
Yeah, but I remember that year before he went there, and Michael Thompson did that interview, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm hearing the Warriors are going after Kevin Durant." I said, "Yep, he going to OKC. I mean, he going to Golden State." And that whole final season, I kept telling everybody he going to Golden State. Like I was the only one not surprised.
You have you caught up on Winning Time yet? The story of the Lakers?
No. I've been hearing everything about it though, like what Magic and Kareem been saying.
You heard about Jerry West today?
Yeah.
So yeah, word around the campfire, Jerry West is calling for a retraction and an apology from HBO, saying that the portrayal of his character in the series directed by Adam McKay, it's a complete falsehood, and it paints him in a very negative fashion. It paints him as an alcoholic, a depressive, somebody who was anti-Magic Johnson, just basically anti-Jerry West, according to him and according to the folks that are being questioned and getting quoted about it. That's heavy for him to go the route of a lawsuit. You feel me? Over a TV show.
Jerry don't say much about it much, but when he says something, it means something.
Yeah, that's hard body, bro. I don't really know. I'm gonna keep an eye on it. I watch the show religiously. I think it's great. I don't take it too serious, right? But at the same time, like, you can't tell somebody how to feel when they take something that's disrespect. So if you haven't tuned into it, if you don't really care for it, I'm not gonna be the one to force you, but if you're looking for something to watch, please go check it out. Like I said, I ain't gonna be the one to force you, but check the shit out because it's dope for real. It's a great show.
I gotta catch up, bro. I gotta catch up.
Couple things that I want to talk about. We just got off playoff basketball, but again, I'll talk to you about my Kyrie theory. With them losing that game, it's like I couldn't put my finger on who wasn't playing well, because the game was close up until the end, all the way to the end. But it shouldn't have been close, in my opinion, especially if Kyrie was damn near giving you 40. I'm like, who is not playing well in this game? Because the Celtics are doing pretty much everything they can. Derek White came in and threw a whole bunch of threes down, and then obviously that great sequence at the end. But how were they down? They ended up having to come back from like at least 13, 14 down. How were they down that much? I couldn't put my finger on it. And I got to thinking, like, can you be playing great and be playing terribly at the same time? Because Kyrie was doing well on offense, but obviously he couldn't guard a glass of water out there. You feel me? Mm-hmm. So when it comes to defense, when it comes to Marcus Smart, when it comes to the finalists, has KD ever really played with an elite defender? Because some would argue that Draymond has the accolades, but he's not a quote-unquote elite defender, depending on who you ask. But besides that, with the days when he was with the Thunder, and now this is 3 years on the Nets, has he ever been with an elite defender?
Individually, because with Golden State, they played great team defense back then. I mean, They were still, even before KD got there, the year they won, they were, the number one team offensively and defensively. So Golden State's more of a team defense thing versus individuals. And yeah, Brooklyn.
I'm talking like, has he ever played with not a Rudy Gobert, I'm sorry, Jared Allen, that's what I'm thinking. Like a Jared Allen type. Has he ever played with someone?
Well, he could have. They traded him.
Super rangy. Yeah, the Nets traded him, right?
They weren't using him right, or he wasn't playing. It was usually one of the two. Either he wasn't playing or they weren't using him.
But who could they use right now? Who do the Nets need right now?
Right?
You feel me? That's the one thing that they got scoring on lock. They got passing on lock. I think we'll see a lot more of Patty Mills. I think we'll see a lot more of Drummond in and out. And Claxton's going to get a ton more minutes as well because Drummond gets into foul trouble easily. The only NFL quick hat.
There's a weird thing with there's a weird thing with KD.
What up?
Right, for one, his scoring is so weird because he's consistently going to give you 28 to 30, right? Mm-hmm. But it's very rare you see KD have monster explosions.
Agreed. It was a
like,
quiet.
What has he got? Like, he's got what 160-point game in his career.
Yeah.
For a guy who we look at as like one of the greatest scorers ever, right? He just hit his career high of what 50? Was it 53 or 55?
In the playoffs, right?
Was that? No, his regular season career high at the end of the season.
Oh, okay.
What was that, like 55 or 56 or something like that? But I mean, we're what 13, 14 years into the KD thing? Like, his scoring is surprisingly not as impactful as it should be for somebody who is that deadly offensively sometimes.
Agreed.
I don't know. It's just a weird thing. It's one of those weird things to explain, like Memphis being better without Josh sometimes. It's weird.
He gave him 23 in Boston the other night, but like we said at the beginning of the show, we need 32 plus. You gotta play great. Both guys gotta play great in order for them to win that series. The only NFL quick hit I had was Cam Newton. He back into some shit again. I don't know if you want to touch it with a 10-foot pole, but he been getting his ass whooped over the weekend, bro. Not even the Superman dance can save him. If you were Cam Newton, especially when everybody's doing the PR cleanup situation, I Am Athlete put out an episode where they checked in with Cap. He's trying to get back on the field. The Pivot did a really dope episode with Shaq. I don't know if you caught it yet, but it was really really dope. But if you Cam Newton, do you just drink a tall glass and shut the fuck up nowadays, or what?
No. For the simple fact of, I think people take what Cam Newton says and apply it to their own lives. And Cam is a select person in terms of being the celebrity that he is with the type of money that he is. He lives a different life. The celebrities and the athletes, they have the similarities. They're still human, but they play by different rules than we do. They have different views than we do because of the life they live. So I try not to crucify celebrities for having some of these outrageous views that they have, because their reality is skewed from what ours is.
I don't think it's outrageous at all. I think he's getting picked on, and I also think from a lesser degree, some of his views are, I guess, in the times that we're living in, archaic, and it's one of those things where, like, I'm not saying shut the fuck up because what you're saying is wrong. I'm saying shut the fuck up for the notion of self-preservation.
No, that I can agree with.
Because Adrian Peterson got crucified for spanking his child. You know what I'm saying? Yep. We don't know to what degree, what severity, but you and I got our asses whooped when we was kids.
You're damn right. You're damn right.
I'm talking about kid tested, mother approved. You feel me? Them ass whoopings came in a 6-pack, but nevertheless, though.
Yeah, I mean,
you can't run around saying you swear by something like that nowadays because of the times that we're living in.
Yeah, I mean, Cam ain't out here doing nothing like crazy foul, like, beating or abusing women that we know of. No. He ain't out here murdering people. None of that stuff. Like everything else is a kind of a drop in the bucket at that point. Again, he's a celebrity with money. What he can demand is different from what I can demand. I don't have like $100 million.
I get you.
And that's just the reality of the way the world is. It's been that way since kings and queens. People with money live different lives. They get to do stuff that, or want and do things that none of other people can.
I want to see him on a roster though, nevertheless. That's my thing.
I hope he can find a target practice somewhere. That last year was rough. And I love Cam, man. I want him to get another shot. Boy, he got to get that. He got to get that aim back.
Speaking of targets, what you got your eyes on this week, bro?
Man, I've been hitting the resale market, bro.
You took your ass on over there?
Yeah, man. Look, man, Area 72, the asteroid foams. Had to cop them with the 96 penny All-Star jersey, the Phoenix game.
I had to talk about that story a little while ago when I was camped out for them joints. I was the third person in line, and they talking about we ain't got no more.
It was either them or the holograms, bro. Or the Silver Surfers, bro. I was twisted.
What you think of them 36s though? Them Air Jordan? I like the bread. I'm kind of hard.
The breads are smooth.
Yeah, right.
The breads
Sneaky
are
nice.
smooth.
Sneaky nice.
They've been look ever since the debacle that the 30s were. They've been kind of on target a little bit here these last recent years.
For sure, most definitely. What I don't like though, KD debuted the KD 15 the other day, and they look like the PGs.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they getting lazy when it comes to that shit.
Look, man. Nobody want to say it again. Look, man. KD, his shoes been a little iffy since like the 7s or 8s.
Yeah.
The 7s was cool. Yeah, it's like after the 7s and 8s, like he kind of got a little bit iffy with some of the KD releases.
I don't expect anybody to buy nothing tomorrow. We're recording this late Tuesday night, which means tomorrow is gonna be 420, big dog.
Yes, sir.
So I expect everybody to put their money to good use, if you feel me, if you know what I'm talking about. But starting on the 21st, we back at it. Air Jordan's coming out with an Air Jordan 36 Sport Blue colorway. This is kind of tough. The 22nd, PG6 All-Star Weekend models coming out. Bunch of New Balances, bunch of 574 colorways. I might jump back into the New Balance wave. I used to have a few pair of 574s and 595s, but I think I might jump back in it depending on how I'm feeling. April 27th, the next time we tap in, it'll probably be before that, but there's a restock coming of the Retro 6 UNC colorway for the Air Jordan Retro 6. That's all I really have.
Wait, the big day, bro. The 29th, bro.
I ain't want to jump the gun, but go ahead, give it to him, big dog. What's the deal?
They finally giving us the answer. Yeah. the Eagle color answer.
Yeah. Finally getting the answer to my question. God damn it,
man, bro.
We've been waiting on bated breath for a while.
So they popped up on the DTLR's release calendar. Now they finally popped up on Finish Lines. I didn't see them on Foot Locker or anybody else's release calendar though.
We'll be there. The 29th is also the Retro 2 Armand Monnier, and then Retro 13 Bravo Blue family size, full size run.
How'd you feel about them Sapphire 7s?
I wasn't feeling them.
Wasn't liking them?
Nah, that's not my speed.
It was one of those ones where it's like I kind of see where you're going with it, but it didn't work out. But I could see where you was trying to go with it. Like it's kind of one of them.
I didn't like a lot of the summer lineup when they actually did the Zoom. I don't even know what it's called, but it's like the feature where they previewed all of them. I forgot to mention on the 28th the Retro 11 low, that Pure Violet. That's tough for the ladies,
of course.
But I didn't like much of what they had coming out. So, yeah, man, hit us up in the mailbag, the hitmenpodcast@gmail.com. I want to see what y'all wearing this week. What y'all stepping out to, what y'all had on for Easter, man. Hit us up. Let us know what's popping. All right, Pat Sajak, Alex Trebek, rest in peace. Here we go. What we did, stadiums last time. Yep. Weren't you supposed to be the one with the question? You got a question for me?
Oh, I do.
Right,
I actually do.
All right, perfect. I ain't made a fool of myself on the show in a minute. What's up with it?
All right, man. All right. This is going to be a good one, too.
All right, let's do it.
How much time we got? All right, we do 30 seconds. We do 30 seconds.
Okay, in 30 seconds, what's the question?
Name me as many athlete rappers as you can.
Shit. Okay. You got Shaq. You got Dame Dollar, Kobe. Damn, I just had it. J.R. Smith was a rapper. Darius Miles. Allen Iverson with Crew Thick. Did Baron Davis rap? I don't remember. No.
Don't remember BD.
Damn. Spreewell didn't rap? Did he rap?
Close.
It's just basketball players. Roy Jones.
Roy Jones. Anybody.
I thought I just did hoopers. Damn.
Man, Ron Artest. Metal World Peace. He was close.
Deshaun Jackson. Pac-Man had a rap. Damn. There's so many.
Diesel, man. Shaq.
I said, yeah. You need to watch that Pivot episode. He talked about it.
I did. I watched it earlier.
Yeah, man, that was tough. Super tough, bro.
That was a great, bro. Once they gave Channing the floor towards the end, bro, that just got wild.
Shaq is the illest though. I remember when I met him. I met him when he got his call to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. And at that time, I didn't have locks. I had the Odell Beckham shit. Don't kill me. Don't shoot, Sheriff. But I had the blonde, and he kept calling me Odell the whole time. I was basically glued to him for like that 4-5 hours that they was doing interviews and stuff on SportsCenter. It was in Houston, I want to say. It was him, Allen Iverson, Reinsdorf, Swoops, and somebody else had got their nod. And he was on my ass. Come here, Odell Beckham looking ass motherfucker. Oh, my God. But he had Toms on. That was the only thing I had to ride. I had to get on
Shaq, you wearing the fuck out some Toms, bro.
What the fuck you find size 17 Toms? Don't worry about it. Worry about your hell, Odell looking ass motherfucker.
Bro, he'd be that, and then when he pop up with the matching fitted to the rest of the shoe, I'd be like, bro, where you find a fitted that size?
Right, for sure.
Definitely no 8.
Shout out to Shaq Diesel. Shout outs for the week, bro. Where you going with it?
Oh man, I'm gonna give a shout out to the rookie class from this NBA season since the season is officially over.
Round of applause.
Lot of promise, man. A lot of promise. Been one of the few rookie classes I've been really excited about. So, definite shout out to them. And we gonna give a shout out to we gonna give a shout out to Power, Book Force, man. I know you wasn't feeling it. But I rocks with it. You know what I mean? I rocks with it. I like this version of Tommy better, man, than the original version from the original series, man. A little bit more calculated.
They ain't got picked up for season 2 yet, though.
Yeah, which I think that's more so 50 problems with stars right now. Man,
we'll see. Snowfall finale coming this week as well.
Yeah, look, man. The middle part of the season, they started losing me a little bit. So I was like, let's go ahead and get it back, Franklin.
They started missing the free throws in the third quarter. They was up 30, and they started just missing shots and letting the team come back on them, right?
It's like, yikes. Okay, 30. Oh, y'all only up by 8 now. Oh.
They signed up for They signed up for the 6th and final season. I'm trying to burn through Better Call Saul right now.
I got to get back to that. Yeah. I haven't caught the new season yet.
And then I'm going to pick up on something new. You got any more shout-outs, bro?
No, man. I just hope everybody, who had a great weekend. If you celebrate Easter, had a happy Easter, normal stuff.
Lit. Straight up and down. Shout out to my dog, Terry Rosen, over at the Terry Rosen Podcast. Podcast party this weekend if you're in Chicago. Hit him up at Terry Rosen, at Can Bam Fam. Details for the podcast party are on their site. Check out FC Network on YouTube as well. Shout out to BlitzSportsNetwork.com, the usual suspects, the big homie. Hope everything is smooth, bro. Of course, my big dog MG, thank you for pulling up on me. The rest of the guys, y'all know when to tap in with us. Shout out to the Black Podcast that keep me rocking and rolling, keep me motivated. Like I said, I was down for a minute. I had to get some rest. Low management, but we'll be back in full effect. Before we get out of here, my final shout out, I want to say rest in peace to DJ K Slay. Shout out to the Drama King. Lost his bout with COVID, a long-standing battle in the hospital, but he's a pioneer institution in the hip-hop game. The one song that I can think about when I think about K Slay was that it was back in the 2000s, like that 50 and Ja like beef. And they remixed Hail Mary. It's him, Eminem, and Busta Rhymes. I don't know if you ever heard it, bro.
Yeah.
But that's what I think of when I think of K-Slay. Just really monumental moments in hip hop, but also a true gatekeeper, somebody that always, whenever you hear about like hip hop acts coming to New York, they had to go see the Kingmakers. K-Slay was one of them Kingmakers. So a legend lost, you know what I'm saying? Prayers up to his family, hearts and minds, prayers and thoughts, but rest in peace to DJ K Slay. It's crazy to think that in the past 3 years, right? We lost Kobe, Nipsey Hussle, DMX, K Slay. The list goes on and on and on. But like pieces of my childhood, legends, heroes in my eyes. You know what I'm saying?
Craziness, bro. Like, 'cause I was just listening to what was the name of that? He had like 100 MCs on it though. And that's the last Chamillionaire verse I didn't heard. Chamillionaire, my dog. So anytime a verse of his pop up, I'm there. But like, yeah, man, legendary. Like you said, man, from the mixtape game to, especially when you talk about the early 2000s period with 50 and Ja and all of that, and you talk about even the work he's been doing lately with a lot of these collabs he's been doing. Still working with guys like Jada Kiss and Styles P and them. Like, you know, K Slade is one of them dudes, man. You never really hear nothing bad about either.
Yeah, he was all about hip hop, bro. So rest in peace to K Slade. Appreciate y'all tapping in each and every time we bring this new cooked up heat rock to your veins. Yellow top on the streets, you feel me? You know how it's going down. We everywhere that podcasts live. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, all of that. You feel me? Check us out on the YouTube. The video is in your phone right now. All you got to do is hit us up. Get on YouTube, type in the Hitmen Podcast, and boom, it's straight to your veins. Hit us up in the mailbag, the Hitmen Podcast @gmail.com. Check us out on the socials at Hitmen Podcast, at Labeled and Known, at Virtuoso Sports. And last but not least, 7 days out the week, 24 hours a day. Don't ever forget it in your life, kid.
What happened here was a miracle, and I want you to acknowledge it.
All right, it was a miracle. Can we go now?
We'll catch y'all next week. We gone. Holla.
Center.